Right, so I'm going to talk about a couple of books I got for Source Material, again from charity shop. They all seem to have recently been from a place called charity shop called Bernard, for a charity called Bernardo's, and that's because it's the one that's nearest to me, and I haven't been able to really get into town or into there's a local town near where I live where it has some good ones. So it's been a bit hit and miss recently, especially with this load. It's a bit of a hit because there are a few other books that I got from there on this run, but I'll go to those another time if I do a video of them. But these are two ones that are quite interesting for the kind of artwork I do, especially if you want to use some of the more retro type images. And not much, if anything, here is good for the actual main image. Well, that texture is quite good. But and this is a great picture on its own. But there's a lot of small images that are good where you've got the little idea out of left field. So, and again, this is good. If I could try and find a way of cutting this nicely, and I think it might be saddle stitched. Getting those two together, I'd have to suffer a join unless I was able to put something in there. But then that would be great. So this is one, A Life on the Home Front. So it's around the home front on the Second World War. By the home front, for anyone who's not in England or the UK, it's what we call just basically what it was like Britain. I mean, America didn't really have so much of the home front because they weren't, thankfully, weren't physically touched by the war. But they might consider what they had as a bit of a home front. But this is the experience back home. So yeah, there are some American experience here. So these are awesome. There's some good photos of the time, but there's also some good what could easily be called propaganda messaging. Although they always say that propaganda is what you call what the enemy says. What you call your what you say is probably just information. I mean, this is a good image there. I could do something with the roof there instantly. Put something down here. These are good. This would be good if it wasn't for the text all over it, but I could take the Air Raid Warden. These people here. It's a shame some of these representations aren't bigger though, unfortunately. They would be very good for artwork. So some of these aren't as good, but it'd be good to have little posters, the adverts actually in the background, to be hung up on a wall or something. This is that's where some of those might work well. So stuff like that is good if you could fit the barbed wire bit in somewhere. These are good. Of course, the whole thing of Rosie the Riveter is always useful. Shame it's not bigger. But then you can usually find a decent version of that elsewhere. That's useful as well. So you've got all these. I mean, people like stuff of that era. It has it does have an appeal to it. So even if I only get a few pieces out of this, it is worth it's worth the pound I paid for it. It wasn't very much. So you've got things about all aspects of the war. So you're going to have some stuff that's not quite so good to look at, obviously. But these are all very. I mean, pictures like that are very useful, and certainly that you could do something about where that picture is intruded over there, replaced over. something could be put there. Now, obviously, since this is a Reader's Digest, I think they've been so far been quite delicate about the some of the worst parts of the war, about what was done, particularly about the Holocaust. Haven't seen really anything of that, which is good for this video. And again, to have the end of the war in Europe now. Yeah, so it's really focusing more on the war in Europe, because it hasn't put the end of the war in America, in the Pacific. I mean, you've got a little V2 missile there, so rocket there, so that's always useful, even if it's very little. And so it didn't do about the end of the war in Japan, so I don't have any mushroom clouds to use. So this one is on motoring and the golden years of motoring. So thankfully this is a dust sheet, so I can use some of these. That's quite a good picture, and always bits like this. But this is the one where it's mostly going to be lots of little bits. So I mean, that's pretty cool there. Well, it still wouldn't make the majority of the picture. I'd have to put it amongst something else. So there's a lot of pages here I could just get rid of to thin things down. And when text-based pages, this is good, but it's almost like the way this picture is put together. It's almost like collage together. You've got disparate elements together as it is. So it's a matter of, I would have to maybe use that car in something else and then use this top part to go with something, and I'd put something else in fan, not the Fiat logo. Again, these cars, pictures of old cars are always good for this kind of artwork for some reason. They seem to evoke something. So you've got this really old age, but most of the time you see your cars from the 50s or the 60s in this kind of artwork, because it's just evocative of that era. And you see these adverts are designed of the time, so you've got a lot more of the art is it Art Nouveau of that time, where it's very not as detailed. And these little things here, they're kind of good to put in other bits, so that could go in somewhere. You have to do something about the text. And this is obviously a very good thing to put in. It could even keep the holding those cans, because it's it looks weird enough, but you could put that in somewhere where it's not really expected. And these are of the time, especially with the bad German symbol flag. So we're still kind of in the 30s here, and 40s. So, like I said, a lot of these are small images. In fact, the golden age of motoring will be like the 30s, not much later than the 40s, I don't think. So it's something a bit different. So, like I said, it wouldn't just be putting cars from the 50s or 60s in. So again, these will be good for little additional bits. I mean, that's a good picture in its own. Take that out, put it amongst something else. Obviously lose the text. Bits like these. I mean, these aren't really any good to me. Something like that might work in some of the form if I'm like putting it in amongst something else. So these are some pretty good books. I'll be able to get some useful work out of them, I think. So I haven't really had anything jump out at me, not like some of the other books I've got recently, but they're good for me to find stuff to add to stuff if I remember the books are there. So let me know what you think. Like, share, and subscribe. My description has my merch link tree in it, which has my merch links on my socials, and it also has my Patreon. And I shall speak to you soon. Thank you.